And yes, we got the win. We got the W. Not a surprising W for all of us who kind of expected us to win this game. But let's be honest, that game was a game of two halves, right? It wasn't exactly, it was a terrible first half, incredible second half. And in the end, we were given a almighty scare in that first half, right? It was looking peak for us. But like this team always does, we found our footing. We've learned from our mistakes, came back from the second half, and then we scored 3 goals, and then we left in the Oviedo game with all 3 points, ladies and gentlemen. This is your instant match reaction to the game. And guys, for those of you guys, obviously my subscribers, guys, as you guys notice, I did not do a watch along. I literally came back home a few minutes ago, so I literally came on right before it was full time. So that's why, guys, there was no watch along. So apologies to all the people who are watching, guys. But listen, I did watch the game anyway. So if I'm gonna be honest, I was not happy about the game. First half, poor. Second half, we were very much better, right? And because of what I saw in the second half, I'm gonna cut these guys some slack, but I do want to get into this whole thing because at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to talk about all the positives and the negatives because there is a lot of things that I saw that I liked about this game, but there's also some things that worried me about this game. But let's get straight into it. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the lineup that Flick decided to go with. And look, I'm going to be very honest, this was a very great lineup. If you guys remember in my match preview, I actually got the lineup fairly accurate. In fact, the only player that wasn't in my predicted lineup was Eric Garcia. He was the only one that wasn't part of it. I thought Koundé was going to start in this game, but apart from him, every other player that you see in this lineup, I predicted perfectly to play in this game. And look, that first half, it was... Look, I think that we controlled that first half, right? But there was no cutting edge in that first half. I was very disappointed with how slack we were in the first half, right? We had a lot of opportunities, we had the most shots, but there was really no end product to anything we were doing in the first half. And I was really disappointed. I wanted to see more from guys like Ferran Torres, who started today ahead of Lewandowski. I wanted to see more from Olmo to see what he could do in this game. I didn't see enough of Pedri in the midfield. Casado, to be honest with you, was not good in that first half. I know Football were giving him a 7.0, but I don't think he really earned that, right? And Oviedo, they were actually very brave. And I want to say this now. I don't want to take anything away from Oviedo. I think they were very brave in the way they came into this game. They played very differently to how they play against Real Madrid, right? They were cautious, but they were also taking their chances. And in the end, they capitalized on a dreadful mistake by Jean Garcia. And look, man, it's his first mistake in a Barca shirt. You know, maybe it's just one of few, right? Hopefully, you know, this doesn't become the norm. And personally, I was disappointed, you know, to see him give away that goal because before this, I was literally calling him the best goalkeeper in the world on form, right? Right. At the end of the day, he's been saving us for the past few weeks. If you look at his performances, it has been absolutely incredible. And yeah, man, I don't know what he was doing coming off his line like that, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man. I couldn't defend it. But you know what, right? I'll cut him some slack because, you know, he has not made any mistakes. He has not made one foot wrong throughout his time at this club. And because of that, I'm gonna cut him some slack. But I do hope that Jean Garcia learns from this and, you know, doesn't make a habit of doing this because, listen, we've already had enough of goalkeepers doing this at this club, right? Right? We were happy to see you here. You were doing such a great job. You know, don't overdo it. Don't get too overexcited. And in the end, yeah, like I mentioned, they did make us pay for it. Reina ended up giving Oviedo the lead, and you could see it, man. The stadium went nuts when they scored, right? And I was very disappointed going at the end of that first half. I can't even lie, right? When that first half ended, I was fuming. I already knew that Flick was gonna make changes, right? We've seen it from Flick throughout this season, right? He's never afraid to make substitutions as early as halftime, right? So we were like, okay, someone's going to have to come off. Ferran Torres has done absolutely nothing. Just take him off and bring on Lewandowski, right? I was sitting down saying, listen, I'm not going to lie. Casado, I wasn't impressed with him, right? I wanted to see changes. I wanted to see De Jong maybe come in the game. Listen, Fermin is out, so I couldn't even say, bring on Fermin, because I don't think Omo was good in that first half either. But in the end, Flick did make the change. He decided to take off Casado and bring on Frankie de Jong. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was a game changer of a substitution, guys. Right? This was the game changer, because the moment de Jong came on the pitch, things changed, right? We started controlling the game much more. You could see that we were controlling the game. We were doing our thing. We were pushing. We already knew what time it was going to be in the second half, right? We knew we were going to go on all guns blazing. And in the end, luckily for us, we got our equalizer very early in the second half. Eric Garcia, it's one of those things where, at the end of the day, he was at the right place, right time, like he always does. And he got his goal, got us back into the game so early. Big up to Eric Garcia as well, man. I'm not going to lie, he's not made a foot wrong throughout this start of the season, right? Apart from when he was a centre-back against Rayo, he's been doing quite a good job. I really love seeing him at right back. I'm going to be very honest, I would just keep him at right back with Koundé. I don't want to see him anywhere centre-back. I feel like at right back, he offers us so much more. He offers us more defensively, and he offers us more offensively, right? So I want to see Eric Garcia continue in that right back position. Compete with Koundé. Competition is not a bad thing. You understand what I mean, right? You have two players who are at the peak of their power, cooking right now at the right back position. It's all good news for Barcelona. You understand what I mean, right? And then we got our goal, and you know what? You could see the confidence was back. I was happy that we scored so early. I was like, okay, well, listen, there's still time to win this game. And then Flick made the big change, obviously bringing on Robert Lewandowski, which I was screaming for since halftime. And look at what happened when Lewandowski came on. Lewandowski came on, bro. Didn't need to settle in for less than 5 minutes. Beautiful cross by Frankie de Jong. Peach, bro. 10 out of 10 cross straight into Lewandowski. And what did I always tell you about striker finishing, bro? That header, bro. Beautiful. Beautiful, bro. He had 4 or 5. Look at the amount of defenders that were near him, bro. He still manages to get his head into that. Beautiful header. Hits the post and goes in. What an amazing goal, right? And I'm not gonna lie, man. I was happy, but like I mentioned, I wasn't over celebrating because I wasn't enjoying how we played in the game. But I was happy that we took the lead, and amazing game, right? In the end, Lewandowski, he could have had more. He came on, you could see he was hungry. I think that the last 2 games between the Newcastle game and Getafe game, he kind of, I think that was a chip on his shoulder coming into this game. You could see it, right? Being benched for this one. And he came on, and look at what he did. Came in and got his goal. Beautiful goal. And in the end, right, fair play to Oviedo. I will say this about Oviedo. Fair play to them. They were still going for it, right? You could see, man, they really gave it a go, right? It's crazy because I didn't see this come out of fight when they played Real Madrid. But for some reason today, they were on it, right? They were going at us. They nearly got the equalizer. But in the end, we held on. We continued controlling the game. And then we got our reward right in the end from a corner kick. Beautiful cross into the box. And Ronald Araújo, ladies and gentlemen, his first goal of the brand new season, puts the final nail in the coffin. And ladies and gentlemen, 3 points is ours. And like I mentioned, I'm happy we won, right? I'm happy we won. We still remain undefeated. We're still in Madrid's tails. But I'm going to be very honest with you guys, right? Barcelona's away performances this season so far has not filled me with a lot of positivity, to be honest. I'm not impressed. I think apart from the opening game against Mallorca, if you look at our away games since, man, we have been struggling. And if you think about the teams we've played away from home, Mallorca, right? Levante, Rayo Vallecano, and now Oviedo. Technically, we haven't even played any good teams technically on paper. Like I'm not even talking about Madrid. I'm talking about Villarreal's, the Sevillas, the Athletic Bilbao's, the Betis, right? Teams that we know are actually going to go for it when they actually are in their home ground. And from what I'm seeing so far, I'm not impressed. We played 4 away games, and 2 of them were against newly promoted clubs, and we struggled against both of them. Right? Not good enough. In the end, I need to see more from this team, performance-wise. Yes, the result is great, but we can't keep going 1-0 down in these games. We can't. Against certain teams, we're going to pay for going 1-0 down. We saw it last season. We saw it last season when we played teams like Sociedad, like Leganes, when we were 1-0 down. We paid for those by losing those games. We cannot afford to continue doing this, right? Because this was something we were doing last season. I thought we learned from this. Stop giving teams the lead. Because sometimes you're going to give them the lead and we're going to struggle to break them down. But we'll see what happens. Like I mentioned, I'm not going to be too negative. We still won the game. Great performance from the team. And yeah, man, listen. Next up, Real Sociedad at the Montjuic Stadium on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back to do a watch along for that. Don't worry about it, guys. We will be here for that. But, ladies and gentlemen, 3 points is 3 points. We move. Now it's down to the weekend. Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be keeping an eye on that. We're hoping that Madrid draw points so that we can win and basically tie with them on points and go top of the table, guys. But let me know what you guys are saying about this game in the comment section below. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. And yeah, man, like I always say whenever I end these streams, guys, Visca el Barça, Visca el Catalunya, and peace, you guys. Take care.